guys, it's John here. Welcome back to Pico Cosmos. Today I'll be doing a setup and review of one of the newer Sea Monkey kits, the Ocean Adventure tank. This set has quite an interesting backstory because it has a massive design oversight that was so bad that it was quickly pulled from the market and discontinued altogether. I'll also be doing another Sea Monkey kit giveaway on this video too, so make sure to stay until the end of the video for some details about how to enter. The Ocean Adventure kit was released by Dragoneye in 2018. It follows the same packaging format as the current Ocean Zoo and Ocean Volcano tanks, in that they don't come with any kind of larger box packaging. Instead, all of the contents are housed within the tank itself. My guess is that these kits are packaged like this to take up less space on retailer shelves, making them a little easier to stock. The tank is incredibly simple in design, with a large jam jar-like cylindrical shape. At the time of its debut in 2018, the Ocean Adventure came in 3 colours. This blue one I have here with me, as well as orange and pink too. Though this image I found of some early prototypes shows that the pink colourway was originally purple, but I'm unsure why this was changed. And even though the Ocean Adventure only had a short run, this tank does have 2 different design variations. The first release had an ocean seaweed type graphic that was printed around the bottom portion of the tank on the outside, while the later version that I have here thankfully did away with this unnecessary decal. You may have already noticed that this tank is larger than your typical Sea Monkey aquarium. In fact, at 850 mils, it's around 2.5 times bigger than a typical ocean zoo. Now, most Sea Monkey tanks are around 300 mils for a very specific reason. It's because the pouches that come with these kits have enough salt for that exact volume of water. If the tanks were any larger, the water salinity would be too low for the sea monkeys to survive. So how on earth did the Ocean Adventure tank make it all the way through the iterative design process onto production and then into retail stores? I have absolutely no idea, but this clear design oversight made the product effectively useless. Once they eventually realized what had happened, any remaining stock was quietly shipped off to the Asia Pacific region, where it was eventually all sold before being discontinued altogether. That was until 2002, when the Ocean Adventure resurfaced online for one last hurrah. Nobody seems to quite know where this stock came from, but this time the tank was sold as a set, with an additional set of pouches and the omission of that macro-algae graphic encircling the bottom of the tank. Transcience's official illustrator Todd Machin was kind enough to pick one of these up and send it to me here in New Zealand, just to continue the tradition of shipping these things off to the Antipodes, so thanks again for your generosity, Todd. Alright, let's open it up and check out what this kit comes with. The tank wrap insert kind of serves as the packaging here. On the front it says, "The original Sea Monkey's Ocean Adventure." This name kind of implies that the tank has some sort of adventurous theme, though I'm unsure what exactly it's referring to. Perhaps it's that seaweed decal which hasn't been printed on this version of the tank, or maybe it's the adventure you go on realizing that your sea monkeys won't survive. In the middle we can see the contents of this kit, as well as a preview of its most unique feature, a colour changing light that's built into one of the tank's lids. Coming around we have both illustrations of sea monkeys and photos of real brine shrimp too. I've noticed a bit of a trend in this direction recently, where the depiction of the product actually being brine shrimp is a little more accurately represented on the packaging. We also have the 3-step instructions here for starting the colony. The back of the insert also has a bit of extra information about sea monkeys too, which is a nice touch. There are 2 pieces of paperwork in here. The first is just more detailed instructions for hatching and growing sea monkeys, and the other is a schematic of the tank and its unusual lid system, with an explanation of how to install the 3 AAA batteries to get the light working. There's also a yellow feeding spoon in here and 6 pouches. The additional 3 have been included in this separate plastic packaging, showing that their inclusion is a clear afterthought. They've also put in a purple aqualeash pipette for aerating the water, which is really helpful. I'm glad to see these being included in kits more often these days. And finally we have the tank itself. This behemoth of a jam jar is both tall and girthy, though despite its simple look, it does have some interesting quirks. Down the bottom on the outside of the tank are 2 protruding horizontal lines. I have no idea what their function is, so let me know down in the comments if you guys have any idea. Coming up to the middle of the tank we have 4 magnifying bubbles built into the sides. This is the very first cylindrical Sea Monkey tank to have these, as neither the Robo Diver nor the Magic Castle and Mars tanks have this feature. Near the top of the tank, just below where the lid sits, are 6 small holes to help with air circulation, which is always great to see. And now on to the double lid system. The first one here has a color changing light. I've just gone ahead and added in the 3 AAA batteries to get it working. It has an on-off switch for activation, and you can see that the light simply just cycles through 4 different colors in a loop. This lid also has some vents on the side for air circulation too, and it satisfyingly slots right into the top of the tank. The second lid is a little strange though. It has the sea monkey's logo molded into the plastic, and again, some more vents for air circulation. This lid goes on top of the first one, and I assume its function is purely aesthetic because it's not really needed. Though you can probably just use either of these lids exclusively if you did have a preference for one over the other. Sadly, this tank doesn't have any kind of textured substrate at the bottom. This is something I really like about the Ocean Zoo and Ocean Volcano tanks because it helps with algae growth and just makes the tank more interesting to look at. Though if it's not obvious by now, this kit clearly wasn't working with the largest of budgets. Let's get it set up. Firstly, I need to add in 850 ml of distilled water. It's kind of funny that there's a fill line molded into the plastic on the back of the tank here. It almost gives the impression that they were somewhat aware of how much water this tank could actually hold. Next, I'll pour in both pouches of packet number 1, the water purifier, and packet number 2, the instant live sea monkey eggs. Long-time viewers of the channel will know that I don't bother waiting the recommended 24 hours between these two steps, because it's not actually necessary. The Aqualeash air pump, which is designed for aerating this tank, also works as a great tool for dissolving all of these salt crystals, so a few pumps of this is enough to get the job done. I'm going to keep the Ocean Adventure tank on this windowsill for the next month or two. It gets plenty of indirect sunlight, which should help a lot with algae growth. The longer I keep sea monkeys for, the more I realise how important algae growth is for a tank's success. I'd go as far as to say that a healthy culture of algae in a sea monkey tank is the single most important factor in keeping them alive. There are a few things I'm going to do to help promote algae growth. The first is adding a small USB aquarium heater into the tank. Unfortunately, the 2 lids that come with the Ocean Adventure can't accommodate accessories, so I'm going to remove them for now so I can put the heater in. This heater has a built-in thermostat that I've set to 26 degrees Celsius, which is ideal for both sea monkeys and algae. Next, I'll add in an air line from this USB-powered air pump. This will add plenty of fresh oxygen into the tank and prevent the water becoming stagnant. Stagnant water is prime breeding ground for biofilms or a collection of harmful bacteria and fungi, so an airline is really important to prevent this from developing. Lastly, I'll put these purple grow lights next to the tank. Since microalgae is a photosynthetic organism, it thrives under grow lights like these, so by keeping them on for around 16 hours a day, it should help the algae to proliferate and grow. As always, I have a link to these affordable tank accessories in the video description. That's all for now. I'll check back in with you guys in a month or so for an update and my review of the Ocean Adventure kit. Hey guys, it's been exactly 4 weeks since setting up the Ocean Adventure, and I've been quite surprised by this tank over the last month. I didn't have much of an affinity for it before trying it out, but it's really started to grow on me. You can see that there's somewhere around 30 to 40 healthy adult sea monkeys in there now, and their development has been surprisingly fast. I noticed the first mating pairs around the 3-week mark, and there's already a few newly born babies swimming around in there too. I haven't seen anything significant in the way of algae growth yet, but there's definitely some beginning to form in the gunk that sits at the bottom of the tank. Before I give you my full review of the Ocean Adventure, we need to try out the light up lid that comes with this tank first. I've been eager to see how it looks on the tank, but I wanted to wait until it was full of adults so I could get the full effect. The single light inside the lid isn't particularly bright, so it'll be best to use it in a dark room, and then it's as simple as placing the light up lid onto the tank and switching it on. The light has only one function, and that's to cycle through 4 different colours. It's actually quite beautiful and relaxing to watch. I think this would be really nice to have on a bedside table at night while you wind down for the evening. I do have a couple of gripes with it though. Brine shrimp are phototactic animals, meaning they respond to light by either gravitating towards it as Norpli or moving away from it as adults. I feel like this constant switching on and off of the light source could potentially confuse them a little. I would also much prefer if the light had an option where you could choose a colour and simply leave it on that. Or if they really wanted to keep it simple with a single on-off switch, it'd be better if the light would gradually transition between different colours, rather than switching itself off and then on again. Overall though, I've been pleasantly surprised by the Ocean Adventure tank. I'm a big fan of the larger volume. It gives the sea monkeys more space to swim, and there's twice as many in there as usual because we use double the amount of packets. The larger volume also means that this tank can comfortably accommodate the important aquarium accessories that I like to use, such as the mini USB heater and USB air pump. It's well known here on the channel that I'm not a huge fan of cylindrical tank designs though. My favourite thing about keeping sea monkeys as pets is being able to watch as they swim gracefully around in their tank, and cylindrical tank designs make this more difficult. It's also much more challenging to capture macro video of the sea monkeys too, which is probably more of a me issue, but it's worth mentioning. I don't really like the magnifying bubbles for the same reason, but the nice thing about this tank is you can easily just rotate it so you don't have to look at them, so it gets a pass on that one. The strangely placed horizontal lines at the bottom of the tank are also unnecessary and just plain annoying. At this point it almost feels as if they're going out of their way to obscure the viewing experience, so yeah, I'm kinda stumped on why they've been included. The double lid option, while a little unusual, is a nice addition. I like that they have holes that promote air circulation to allow the tank to breathe. It would have been nice to see some small notches in the plastic to accommodate a heater and air line, though unfortunately these things aren't ever taken into consideration with sea monkey tanks. I've already spoken a little about the light. It's definitely a cool idea, but as usual the implementation is slightly off. I'd prefer to see a plug-in USB light so you don't need to worry about replacing batteries. It would also allow the light to be brighter too. I'm keen to hear if you guys feel the same way as I do about this. Now, I realise that my review of this kit sounds a little negative, but despite its shortcomings and its accidental size design flaw, this isn't a terrible product. I'm actually quite thankful that their incompetence made this tank volume too large, because it meant that we finally got a big sea monkey tank, even if it was by accident. And I know there's a lot of people out there who like the idea of giving their sea monkeys more space to swim around. I've recently heard that there are possible plans to re-release the Ocean Adventure at some point in the future, though of course with a bit of a design overhaul to ameliorate some of its problems. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on this tank, and if you'd be interested in getting an Ocean Adventure if it does get a reissue. If you'd like to enter the giveaway to win a Sea Monkeys Ocean Zoo tank, simply leave a comment on this video telling me your thoughts on the Ocean Adventure tank, and I'll pick a random winner 1 month from now and reach out to you here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.